So I wasn't really sure how to structure this video. I've been really into reimaginings lately, particularly those made by Into Orbit, but I'm not into Orbit in that I don't think I'd be good at planning out every aspect of a group's career down to like fan meetups and things like that. You should absolutely watch their videos because they are fantastic, but we're going to be talking about a kind of reimagining I haven't really seen anyone do. If you didn't get it from the title, this is going to be me rambling about my ideas for if Sserafim debuted while doing a collaboration with the Danganronpa series. I think Sserafim themselves might wish they could redo their debut, as it was littered with controversy. And I should clarify up front, I will be talking about Grom in this video. She's actually integral to my favorite part of this entire video, so if you really don't like her, this isn't the video for you. Sorry, I'm going to be incorporating that part of their career in what I believe is a creative way, but I understand some people would probably prefer to pretend it didn't exist, so this is just a warning for those people. I should also clarify what Danganronpa is if you don't know. It's a video game series where extremely talented teens are trapped in a high school and have to solve murders within their class together. If they solve the murder, the culprit is executed and they continue to live trapped in the school, but if they do not discover the culprit, they're all executed while the killer gets to leave. I'm not going to present a story where the girls themselves get hurt in any way. Just to be clear, I'm probably the last person who would think that kind of thing is okay. There are other ideas I have for their careers that don't have to do with the collaboration, but I decided that I'll just quickly go over those things at the end of the video, because I didn't like stuffing them in the video somewhere where they would just detract from the larger narrative that I have in mind. I'm a writer, I like structure, interruptions bother me, I can't help it. Now, maybe we should start with where this idea actually came from in the first place. I was watching a video on Everglob's second channel, Mamba's Recall, and this is by no means a criticism of Cheryl. I have no intention of arguing if her review is right or wrong. I don't think I get to make that decision, and I also just don't want to. It's not the point, so don't try to misconstrue anyone's words. That's not appropriate, and I might just delete your comment entirely. That being said, Cheryl talked about this idea that everyone in Sserafim has a specific quality that attracts fans to the group, but Eunchae is mostly just famous for being the maknae. Maybe think about Danganronpa because the first game centers around a character who got into the school meant for child prodigies, but he got in through a contest, making his real talent his luck. As a result, I thought to myself what it would be like if Sserafim were in Danganronpa, and considering their recent collaboration with Overwatch, my mind went a few steps further what it would be like if they collaborated with Danganronpa. What if they did it at debut? How would this come to be? Sserafim debuted with a trilogy, so I figured it might be best to incorporate the collaboration as part of the rollout of that trilogy, with certain changes, of course. We'll get to the music a bit later. I want to go beyond the idea of Sserafim having skins in a game. I want a mini Danganronpa game for the fans to play, but as it gets updated, unlike how the games typically function. I was thinking they would update bi-weekly and incorporate new characters from a hypothetical new Danganronpa game that I really want so badly. Their talents would include Sakura's stage presence, Cheon's skills as an ace, Yunjin's opera vocals, and Kazuha's ballet. Grom would be an actress, as it's what she's currently pursuing in school, and Eunchae would be the ultimate lucky student. But I also wanted to give her just some quirks that would make people appreciate her role in the game. Danganronpa characters tend to be pretty quirky, so I wondered if she could have like an apparent obsession with classic K-pop that she just reference all the time, like do dances and reference lyrics. It's something she could incorporate into her time as an MC, which she would still do in the real world, but I wanted her to keep fans engaged in the plot as well, so anytime the game is mentioned, she just acts overwhelmed, like she can't say much in order to keep the end of the plot a secret, but also emphasize its overall significance for the group and keep people engaged. This is a small detail, but I really don't care. I was also thinking about the mascot of Danganronpa, who, if you don't know, is a mechanical talking bear who's very evil but very funny, named Monokuma, and I kind of want him to just have a Sserafim light stick and hit people with it. That would be very funny to me personally. As far as the plot goes, one of the characters would die, one of the characters from the hypothetical new game, and an investigation would commence. At around the same time, Grom would disappear. No warning, no explanation, and the girls left would be confused, but also not able to say much because of the potential repercussions in the real world. It would make everyone in the group look guilty, and the fans would speculate about any of them being the killer, or if the scandal really made them have to change the entire plot of the game. And it would drive some people crazy. Everyone would be looking for every detail, every move, and there would be a marketing strategy. There is a phenomenon called the mirror exposure effect, where you like things more as you come across them more, as they become familiar. We also remember things better in similar contexts, so I don't want this to be a passion of theirs that only exists within the walls they hold themselves in at night. It will be a passion, and it will create compassion, because Grom will come back in a very specific way when they all need one final piece of evidence to secure their safety. Gfriend will admit she had some association with the people running the killing game, but she broke a rule of theirs and betrayed their trust. But she will take things into her own hands, and Chaeyeon, the person everyone has come to know as a leader, will say, okay, even if in some eyes she will remain unforgiven. As will the viewer, because they committed the crime. All of their theories were a waste of time. Anything they said about Gfriend was false. They committed the crime. How this would work out is something I would need more skill in mystery writing to execute properly, but this is important to me. This would be the moment they release the trailer for their final installment of the trilogy, the end card simply asking, do you want to be forgiven? There would have been music dropped throughout the process, toying with the central themes of the Danganronpa games, primarily hope, despair, and truth. I'm going to go through with my ideas, and yes, I'm changing their discography, but not because I don't like it, but because it's a reimagining with themes that it only makes sense to explore in the music as well. The first mini-album would be Hope. I think we can keep The World Is My Oyster as the introduction, because the video that goes along with it is so symbolic of that theme of, like, nearing the edge of ruin and reverting back to a better state in an almost impossible way. However, the title track, despite Fearless being one of my favorite songs of all time ever, is called Hopian, an Old English, specifically verb form of hope, and I want Hopian to sample a song called Clair de Lune, which, if you've played Danganronpa, you know it holds a lot of weight in my heart to the point I start crying sometimes just thinking about it. Yeah, I think that would be great. There would also be B-sides. I wanted to pick actual the Sserafim songs, even if they wound up in different places in their discography. Fear Not and Good Parts seem like they would fit in on this mini-album. Then we have Despair. For the introduction, I jokingly wrote Fire in the Belly in my notes, since while a well-loved song, I think most of the fandom and Chaeyeon herself are probably a little tired of the memes of the mistake heard around the world. The actual introduction would be called Goodbye, referencing the second Danganronpa game, Goodbye Despair. As far as title tracks go, I wanted a song called Thanatos, referencing the death instinct and sampling the second game's specific theme, and I think Eve, Psyche, and the Bluebeard's Wife, and Sour Grapes would work as B-sides. Finally, we get to Truth. I wanted an introduction called Killing Harmony, like V3, and Unforgiven, of course, as the title track. Impurities and Choices would round out the trilogy, and I think this entire concept really hinges on the choice of pursuing or not pursuing forgiveness for things you've done, things you may or may not regret. Now, I mentioned a couple of fun things I wanted to add at the end. These are just pieces of content I think the fans would really enjoy, like different series akin to Eunchae's Star Diary, I guess. First, I want a show called Vet Rookies, which would incorporate Yoonjin and Kazuha. It would be kind of like early Try Guys videos, but mostly involving music somehow. I want them to teach themselves and each other new things, including but not limited to ballet and opera. I also want them to chronicle how they maintain their particular skills while not having the same guidance as before, because I imagine they don't want to regress in their abilities just because they became idols. It'd also be fun because it could mostly be done while speaking English, which could bring in a lot of new fans. The next one would never happen in a million years, but I want a show called As One, where Sakura and Chaeyeon would be open about the process of debuting again and becoming better friends like they said they have as the Sserafim. I think they could talk about what Yoonjin said to the Dream Academy contestants about things happening for a reason and people meeting again someday, and how they would relate that to their feelings about As One. It could explore lots of things, really, like even Sakura's insecurities she occasionally talks about. That's something I think most people would really like to see. Finally, I want to give Gfriend something, and I want to congratulate Gfriend for her recent acceptance into a school where she'll continue to study acting. I would love to see a show called Gfriend's Theater. In my mind, it's similar to Smosh Theater. She'd just do different improv games with any idols who showed up on the program. I think that's about as much as I can think of right now, if I'm being honest. I hope you feel like this was worth your time and enjoyable, all of the good things. And yeah, this is LE SSERAFIM, Truth Bullet. Go watch Into Orbit.